Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Lutfi Azka. My study number 20200520126. I'm from class IP EP B2. Uh, Thank God at this time we can meet, even talk virtually, but God's willing, the blessing of knowledge are still abundant. Well, friends, in this video, I will explain a little about civil society. Civil society. What is civil society? Who created the term civil society? Talking about civil society, in my opinion, is a complex thing, and there is no one meaning agreed upon by all scientists in interpreting it. Many opinions have been expressed by scientists regardless of the deeming of the terms related to the term civil society created by Cicero, and it began to rise again in the 17th century. At first, the civil society referred to by Cicero had a meaning that referred to political society. However, literally, there are several meanings related to the word civil society, namely, uh, namely civil societas, which refers to the cultural turmoil of individuals and society, then the civility of say or divinity can also be interpreted as urban society. And the last one is related to the root of the word civil, namely civilization, which means civilized, so that it can also be interpreted by the civil society is a civilized society. If I understand what Cicero said, I understand that civil society is a term that describes the dynamic uh, of people's lives in a city or an area where people already have civilization or have written or unwritten rules. Okay. Broadly speaking, the concept of the term civil society created by Cicero and based on its literal meaning has represented the intent of thought starting from the 17th century onwards. Uh, just John Locke defined civil society as a political society, which is the result of a social contract, which according to him is society. That is the sum as a state that has political influence to regulate its society, in the sense that the community has a strong role in determining something that can affect many people. Locke then divides society into three categories, namely natural, harmonious, war, inequalities that cause chaos in society, and the formation of the state. Ross then argues, which is also in line with Locke's concept, namely on the natural point, where uh, Russell interprets that humans are born in good form. However, after living in society, he became that because there was competition, and he thought there must be a mutual agreement to arrange live together so that it can return to God. However, Hegel has an opinion that contradicts Locke and Rawls's, who considered civil society to be only one part of the overall political order. He thought that the historical structure of society was divided into the family, civil society, and the state. He did not think of the family as a form of civil society or the state as a form of civil society. And Marx thinks that civil society is a widening between class and status of society, which are mutually contradictory between the workers of the proletariat and the capitalists. Based on some of the opinion of the expressed above, all of which have difference in opinion, but still the story of civil society is the dynamic that occur in one society will have various difference and various interests in which there are regulation the regulate to the social order. Mm, then ultimately lead to change in social order, and here it can also be concluded that people's lives cannot be separated from politics. In Indonesia itself, in interpreting the concept of civil society, there are many views by thinkers, so that in Indonesia itself does not have a single meaning and is agreed upon by all communities related to civil society. Muladi is from Nurhalis, who defines it as civil society, where he considers the concept of Cicero civil society to be similar to the condition of the people of Medina at the time, where Medina was a civilized city. However, this is considered contradictory because the thought of civil society comes from the West, so it's considered not to be interpreted with condition in the East. Then Mansur Faki will define civil society as a civil society against the military community, which caused suspicion because when the Soeharto government had dominant power, and Muhammad A.S. Hakim interpreted civil society is an organized life characterized by volunteerism, self-sufficiency, and self-sufficiency, who have high independency when dealing with the state, where at this point the community has authority, the judge, civil society. Only he interprets the terminology, then Dewa Maharjo will define civil society as civil society which refers to interest group in public space outside the state. Thank you from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.